Have you noticed that Britain is silently unraveling in plain sight? Because that is what the overlooked government reports actually confirm. While the headlines tell you recovery is underway, entire cities are already in free fall. Not slowing down, not facing setbacks. They have already crossed the point of no return. Storefronts boarded, wages stagnant, savings wiped, and futures are quietly, systematically being dismantled without a single headline to mark it. We tracked 15 cities already in freefall during this stagnation. Real data. Figures the government buries inside quarterly releases most people never read. We will name every single one, starting with the city no politician dares to talk about. Here is the number that frames everything. The UK is not in a recession by the headline measure. GDP grew 0.1% in both the third and fourth quarters of 2025. But strip out public spending, the money the government is pumping in to keep the number positive, and the private sector entered a technical recession in the second half of 2025. Real GDP per person is still falling. Unemployment hit 5.2%, a 5-year high. Britons are getting poorer even as the headline number climbs. That is the economy these 15 cities are living in. And when the national picture looks this grim, the towns that were already struggling do not slow down, they break. City 1, Inverness, Scotland. Inverness sells itself as a gateway to the Highlands. Tourists arrive in summer, spend money, photograph the castle. The numbers look fine from a distance. What they do not show is what happens the rest of the year, when the visitors leave and the town reverts to what it actually is. The Highland economy runs on seasonal work and public sector employment, two foundations that do not build a future for people in their 20s. Young professionals are relocating to Edinburgh and Glasgow, where the wages, the employers and the transport links actually connect us somewhere. The property market reflects this. Values in Inverness have consistently underperformed Scotland's central belt. When a city cannot retain the people who build its future, it is not recovering. It is running down its reserves. City 2, Ballymena, Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland's economic inactivity rate, the proportion of working-age people not working and not looking for work, stood at 26.4 to 27.5% throughout 2025. The UK national rate is 21.1%. That is a gap of more than 5 percentage points, confirmed every quarter by the Northern Ireland Statistics and Research Agency. Northern Ireland has held this gap consistently for over a decade. In Ballymena, that inactivity sits inside an economy where manufacturing is contracting. Confirmed redundancies across Northern Ireland were over 35% higher in the year to November 2025 than the year before. The high street reflects it. Anchor retailers are withdrawing to larger centres and vacancy rates are persistently elevated. When people are not working, they are not spending. When the shops close, the town centre empties from the inside. City 3, Bridgend, Wales, September 25, 2020. The Ford engine plant in Bridgend closed its doors for the final time. 1,700 direct jobs were lost in a single day. The plant had employed the town for 40 years, but the number buried in the coverage was the indirect figure, an estimated 12,000 jobs supported throughout the local supply chain. Ford moved Dragon engine production to Mexico and India. Then Ineos Automotive, which was supposed to anchor the Brocastle replacement site, withdrew its investment entirely. That was a second blow that most national coverage gave a single paragraph. 5 years on, the structural damage has not been repaired. The supply chains are gone. The skills pipeline that built around Ford has no destination, only 3 cities in, and already alarming. Subscribe now. We publish every single week. The remaining 12 get significantly worse. Keep watching. City 4, Washington, Tyne and Ware. Washington is a new town built on the premise that if you provide the infrastructure, manufacturing will follow. At first, the manufacturing did follow, and then it contracted. The infrastructure has aged without upgrade investment. Council finances are under severe pressure, the deficit widening with no confirmed recovery plan on the table and no external rescue in sight. When the employment anchor contracts and the investment that was supposed to follow never arrives, the logic of the new town runs in reverse. Everything built around the job starts to hollow out, slowly, then faster. The schools, the services, the roads, all of it were designed for a population with a future. All of it is now carrying the cost of a past that did not deliver one. City 5, Whitehaven, Cumbria. Whitehaven built its identity around energy, coal, then nuclear. The transition to clean energy was supposed to create replacement jobs. What actually happened is a gap between the old economy closing and the new economy opening. In that gap, workers in their 40s with decades of skills in traditional energy have nowhere to go. Retraining is not available locally. New roles require qualifications that take years to obtain. Whitehaven is also one of the most geographically isolated towns in England, cut off from major investment corridors and dependent on road infrastructure that has not been materially upgraded in a generation. The transition is real. The timeline is not. City 6, Preston, Lancashire. Preston's high street vacancy rate is among the highest in the northwest and rising. Major employers have been quietly relocating to Manchester, where the infrastructure and talent pool justify higher costs. Median household income in Preston sits persistently below the national average. When workers earn less than the national average, and the biggest employers are leaving for a city 40 minutes up the motorway, you do not attract the next round of investment. You attract the next round of empty units, the next round of charity shops, and the next round of reporting about what a once proud northern city has become. City 7, Wakefield, Yorkshire. Post-mining has become so familiar it has almost stopped meaning anything. But in Wakefield it means something specific. A generation of economic damage so complete that no one in power today was in power when it happened. Youth unemployment sits well above the national average. Council finances are severely strained. When a city's young people cannot find work, and the authority responsible for maintaining the conditions of daily life is running out of money, the trajectory does not reverse itself. It compounds. Every year of stagnation makes the next year harder. Every young person who leaves takes tax revenue, spending power and ambitions somewhere else. City 8, Kettering, East Midlands. Logistics was supposed to be Kettering's future. The warehouses arrived, but the permanent, well-paid jobs did not. What arrived instead were shift-based temporary contracts, designed to be automated away on a timeline already running. Infrastructure investment has bypassed the town entirely. Property values have recorded zero growth since 2022. In an era of general UK house price inflation, zero growth adjusted for inflation is a loss. Buyers are not choosing Kettering, they are choosing somewhere else consistently, and the property market records that verdict year after year. City 9, Nuneaton, West Midlands. Manufacturing has exited. There is no confirmed replacement sector. High street vacancy is significantly above the West Midlands regional average, and footfall is collapsing as shoppers make the short journey to Coventry or Birmingham. When your population has better options 20 minutes away, the local economy does not recover. It hollows out until the businesses that existed to serve local demand have no local demand left to serve. Then they close, then the units stay empty, then the cycle accelerates. City 10, Hereford, Welsh border. Agricultural automation is eliminating rural jobs at a pace the local economy cannot absorb. The National Health Service in Herefordshire is running some of the longest waiting times in the region, a clear signal that the economy is too weak to retain the clinical workforce, who would reduce them. Young people are leaving. The housing market gives you a profit if you sell and move to a city. The job market gives you better options if you relocate. Both signals point in the same direction, and population projections are beginning to confirm that departure. City 11, Stevenage, Hertfordshire. Stevenage is the strangest story on this list. Defence employers are expanding, aerospace jobs exist, But the economic benefits are not reaching the high street or the small businesses that depend on local footfall. Anchor retailers have gone. Footfall is declining even as employment in the defence corridor grows nearby. The town has an identity crisis. It is a new town whose retail core is dying even as its industrial periphery expands. The two halves of Stevenage's economy are not connected. One is growing, one is collapsing. The residents in the middle are not seeing the benefits of either. City 12, Harlow, Essex. Harlow was one of Essex's most deprived towns for decades. The 2025 English indices of deprivation show genuine progress. Pockets remain in specific wards, but the overall direction is improvement. What the indices do not capture is the housing trap. Property prices in Harlow are falling despite its location on the M11 corridor, 30 miles from central London. That proximity should generate demand. Instead, buyers are choosing Epping, Chelmsford and Broxbourne, towns where the infrastructure and schools give the market enough confidence to sustain price growth. 10 years of regeneration promises have not produced the price signal that tells buyers a town has a future. The market's verdict is recorded in the numbers. City 13, Plymouth, Southwest. Plymouth's economy runs through the Ministry of Defence, the naval base, the supply chain, and the defence contractors. That engine is reliable until Whitehall delays a contract. Suppliers now report that procurement delays are creating cash flow crises at the small business level. Firms have budgeted around major contracts, waited months for confirmation, and burned through working capital reserves in the meantime. The city is defence dependent. Population growth projections are stalling. Lenders are quietly downvaluing local properties as the risk premium on a defence-dependent, single-employer economy rises. City 14, Chatham, South East. The Royal Dockyard closed in 1984. Chatham spent 4 decades trying to replace what it lost. The Medway waterfront has been regenerated, with 1,700 homes on the former dockyard site, completed in 2024. But regeneration at one end of a town does not fix structural unemployment at the other. It does not repair the deprivation concentrated in the older parts. It does not reduce the financial pressure on households carrying high-rate mortgage debt in a market that has not given them the equity growth to remortgage on better terms. UK repossessions nationally rose 51% year on year. In the third quarter of 2025, UK Finance confirmed. The areas hardest hit are consistently those with the oldest mortgage debt and the lowest income buffers. Chatham fits that profile precisely. You have made it to City 15, and this one may shock you the most. Subscribe before you watch the final reveal. Every week we expose what the headlines miss. City 15, Portsmouth, Hampshire. Portsmouth cannot escape its geography. An island city, hemmed in on all sides, with housing demand from the Royal Navy, the university and the defence sector pressing against a finite supply of land. Affordability is among the worst outside London, measured against local incomes. And into that already stressed market, the national landlord exodus has arrived at scale. In 2025, 93,000 buy-to-let landlords exited the UK rental market. This is a confirmed figure from Black and White Bridging's Broker Insights report, corroborated by Landlord Buyer and the English Private Landlord Survey published December 2025. 6% of all buy-to-let mortgage holders exited in a single year. The Renters' Rights Act came into force in late 2025, abolishing no-fault evictions. For a small landlord with 1 or 2 properties in Portsmouth, that was the final calculation. The regulatory risk had risen. The yield had compressed. Exit, sell, add supply to a market already absorbing properties from landlords who made the same decision over the previous 12 months. Values are declining against the regional trend. The island city cannot expand, but it can get cheaper, and it is. Here is what UK residents must do right now. Check your council's financial health. Public records are available, and the gap between a well-managed authority and one running a structural deficit is measurable in service quality and the physical condition of the streets around you. Avoid high-risk postcodes where values are still falling. The 15 cities on this list are documented, others will follow. The signals are visible before the collapse, if you know where to look. Target growth cities where the data is moving in the opposite direction. Bristol, Edinburgh, Harrogate, Leeds. Each outperforms for different structural reasons, and each can be verified against the same indices used in this video. Build a 6-month emergency fund, now. These 15 cities look recoverable on a quick glance, the kind of glance a mortgage broker makes when they tell you a market is fine. The data shows prolonged structural decline. The difference between that quick glance and the actual numbers is the difference between buying into a falling market at the wrong moment and getting out before it gets worse. Britain is not recovering evenly. It never does. The cities that were already behind do not catch up in a stagnation, they fall further. The question is not whether the decline is real. The data makes that plain. The question is which side of the divide you land on.